When Bell was an apprentice, his teacher told him to pass the art on to others in the future. In 2006, Bell formally opened the doors to the Tamboyama Nihonto Tanrin Dojo, or Dragonfly Mountain Japanese Sword Forging School, where he hosts classes throughout the year in all aspects of sword making. Students come from around the world and from all walks of life to work under Sensei Bell's close supervision. Over the course of a week or a weekend, there's both hands-on and verbal instruction in the technique of sword making, not to mention a healthy dose of personal anecdotes about Bell's own training, his moonlighting job for the local police department, or an inevitable discussion of politics. In the most popular week-long class, students come away with not only a wealth of knowledge, but their own hand-forged sword. Many students aspire to careers as sword makers themselves, and Bell likes to note that the dojo, or school, is a training hall, one in which both iron and smith are forged. Once the hammering is complete, the essential features have been forged into the steel, such that it has taken on the basic shape of a sword. Now the sword must be refined further. First, fire scale covering the blade is removed with an angle grinder. A notch is cut at the junction of the blade and the tang. The remaining hammer marks are removed as the blade's surfaces and angles are smoothed out at the belt sander. This is an arduous process, requiring many hours of painstaking refinement with each pass over the belt. Stock removal, or shaping a blade from machined steel, is a common technique in modern knife making, but Bell prefers to forge the steel under the hammer first, and believes that this results in superior strength. Over the years, Bell has accepted apprentices who have worked under his guidance for several years. Bell's oldest son, Gabriel, has followed in his father's footsteps and is now forging blades alongside him. Like his father, Gabriel's work is garnering recognition, including a Best Art Knife Award from the 2009 Oregon Knife Collectors Association show. Bell's wife, Anna, is also an integral part of the forge and family business, and has recently made a tsuba inspired by the Oregon coastline, as well as handmade sword bags. The grinding work is complete when the blade's surfaces are flat and the overall geometry of the blade is set. The remaining marks left by the grinder are removed with the draw file. The file work ensures that there are no irregularities left on the blade's surface and that all the lines are crisp and precise. Now the blade is ready to be coated with a mixture of clay in preparation for heat treatment. The clay is applied in a specific pattern that serves multiple purposes. First, a light coating is applied to the entire blade's surface. Next, feet, or ashi, are added along the entire length of the blade to relieve stress during heat treatment. Then, the clay is applied thickly to the back of the blade, where it acts as insulation. The blade's edge is left uncovered, allowing it to be heated to a higher temperature and then rapidly cooled when quenched in water, resulting in the formation of an underlying molecular structure of hardened steel called martensite. In the end, the back of the blade is more ductile and shock-resistant relative to the hardness of the edge that is required to maintain its sharpness. When the clay is dry, it is time to start the final process of heat treating the steel. With repeated passes through the forge's fire, the blade is gradually heated to a uniform and critical temperature under the watchful eye and hand of the master swordsmith. Too hot and the blade may fracture, too cold and the blade will not harden properly. It is said that the Japanese longsword, the katana, contained the soul of the samurai. Without question, there's a feeling of life or aliveness in a well-made blade, and this liveliness is a key characteristic that Bell strives for in his swords. During the process of making a sword, life is imparted into the blade during the quenching process, or yaki-ire. In recognition of this spiritual aspect of sword making, as well as the need for highly focused attention and decisive action, Bell conducts traditional Shinto rites before commencing the process. When the glowing blade takes on just the right color, it is plunged into a trough of water. Upon contact, the water boils and the blade shudders, bending into the characteristic curve of the Japanese sword. It is an event that is at once both violent birth and anointed baptism. If all goes well, the blade emerges steaming from the water with a graceful arc, and for the first time, the piece of steel feels alive in the hand. Now that the blade has come alive, it returns to the belt grinder for refinement of its final shape and sharpening of the edge.